We drink tequila. We talk.
Welcome to Team Tequila Talks.
She was just on last week. She was just on last week.
The whole truck.
Yes, she was on last week. Yeah.
We choose to talk to her to get things off.
I didn't have to warn you, but we're drinking tequila.
Welcome to Team Tequila Talks. For this episode, we have, as always, your hosts, Cassandra Amell and Sherionne Gonzalez. We are very lucky to have Mark Strong from the House of Strong returning. Always love to see him. And today we have our special guest, Miss Tracie Thoms.
Hi, guys.
So you probably know Tracie. She is a Broadway star. And you probably know her from her role in Rent. Don't shake your head. Own it. Own it.
Own it.
Broadway star.
Yes. You may know Tracie from Devil Wears Prada.
One of my faves.
Yes, numerous TV shows, films, actress extraordinaire, and singer extraordinaire.
Let us hear.
Honey, we got to pay for Tracie to sing. You have to pay funds for Tracie to sing.
Maybe after some more tequila.
Maybe some more tequila. I would be compelled.
Yeah, so Tracie is joining us today. We are sipping some tequila so it's funny, very funny story. So I'm texting Tracie like, hey, I know you don't like tequila. So I know you like bourbon and whiskey. So I'm like, can you come on my show and talk about how you like bourbon and whiskey, but I'm going to convince you to like tequila? And she was like, honey.
I like tequila.
She was like, I love tequila. And I was like, what? Because every time I see you.
My family is very much a bourbon family. Whenever I go over to our mutual friend's house, they always have bourbon for me. So I'm like, okay, great, because they make sure they have it because they know I like it. But I also very much enjoy tequila.
Where are you from that you are a bourbon family girl?
I'm from Baltimore, which people, it's not like Kentucky or whatever, but as I got a little bit older, I started going back to our family reunions, and they have a whiskey sour competition in my family, which I had no idea as a child. And I was like, oh, no wonder y'all are always lit.
Maryland is the South. I think the official drink of their state is the mint julep, is it not? Did I make that up?
I don't know. You may not have.
I'm pretty sure. I had a friend that had a wedding there, and she actually lives in D.C., but the wedding was in Baltimore, obviously, proximity.
Right.
And their official drink was the mint julep. So maybe it's not the state's official drink. Maybe it was just their wedding's official drink.
It
but
might have been their wedding's
There
official
was a
drink.
story behind it.
Yeah, and, that may not be wrong. I haven't lived in Maryland full time since I was 18.
What's in a mint julep?
Bourbon, mint, powdered sugar, crushed ice. So it's actually kind of like a mojito, but it is bourbon instead of rum.
Okay.
And you're supposed to use, I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to use a powdered sugar as opposed to a cane sugar. It's something about the powdered sugar melts differently in the bourbon, and you kind of smash it up and shake it up, and it goes over crushed ice. So it's supposed to be very refreshing because it's hot in the South, and I think it is very closely tied. I've been to the Kentucky Derby several times, and that's what you do. You drink mint juleps.
Yeah, I think about the mint julep as being like deep South, or more Southern. And when I've had it, it's been very lovely and refreshing. But I wouldn't even know what was in it. Apes. I learned.
But wait, you said you haven't lived in Baltimore in a very long time. So did you go from Baltimore to New York? I know you went to Howard. You got
I
a
went
BFA.
to Baltimore to D.C. My family still lives in
DC.
Baltimore. I go back like twice a year, but in terms of living there and really being a part of Baltimore culture,
right?
I haven't. I never did it really as an adult. When I would go back and I want to go out on the town, my cousin will take me out, but I just go wherever she wants me to go.
So do you run into the same problem that I do with people say, well, where are you from? And if I'm traveling abroad, I say, well, I live in Los Angeles because I have lived in Los Angeles for a while, and gosh, I feel like I don't even live in one place anymore. But I was born and raised in Houston, and the problem with that is anytime I tell people that, they go, well, where were you really from? And I say Houston, and they go, oh, I'm going next week. Where should I go?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't live there and have not in a decade and a half.
And I didn't live there when I was of age,
Exactly. I left when I was 17.
When I was 18, I moved to D.C. to go to Howard University.
Amazing.
And then I moved to New York to go to grad school at Juilliard, and then I stayed in New York until I got a job out here. So for a long time, I was going back and forth between New York and LA, and I still do that a bit. But I'm really Los Angeles. No, I can't believe I'm saying that.
Are you claiming? So here's my issue. This is my thing. So here's I've talked to people about this.
Here we go.
So I'm from LA, born and raised. I've lived in other places, but primarily I've always lived in Los Angeles. And I'm always like, if someone asks, like my husband who's from New York, if someone asks him, where are you from? He says, New York City. And he's lived here for 25 years.
Yeah. I'm the same. If people say, where are you from? I say Baltimore.
Okay, so you don't say, you don't say
I'm
LA.
from LA. I say I live in LA. But, but like you said, if I'm abroad, people are like, oh, where'd you come here from? I'm like, LA.
So, Mark,
okay.
Sure.
Like
you
I'm abroad all the
are-
time.
I'm from Miami.
And when people say, where are you from? Do you say LA or do
I
you
say Miami for sure.
So I think, in my opinion, it's not where are you born, but it is where have you cultivated a life and where have you spent the most time and where do you consider
Yes.
home?
Right. And I'm torn, because I spent a lot of time in New York, but now I've spent a lot of time here. I think I may have been here longer than I was in New York. Oh, my God.
Oh my goodness,
That's
really?
a relevation.
Really?
Relevation.
So you
So
went
did you
to
start
Revelation.
working in LA? Like your first big
no,
job?
No, I was in New York.
New York.
For
okay.
sure. For years. And then I booked a cop show out here, Cold Case,
Okay.
which moved me out here in like 2005.
I've heard of it.
Yes.
So then you came to LA, and then you went back to New York after?
Well, I go back and forth. I still have a place
okay.
in New York. If I go do a play or something, I'll go back to New York to do that.
Well, and you filmed up Vol Wears Prada in New York, which I have to say, a huge fan. And we all have those movies that you can watch 100, if not more times. And I have to say that The Devil Wears Prada, in my opinion, is a perfect film. I have seen it so many times, and it is my favorite film to put on a plane or when I'm doing stuff, around the house or I need something to fall asleep to, and you just want that sense of familiarity. Yet I always end up actually not being able to take my eyes off the
Or
screen.
if you're in the mood for some sass. Like, that's why I love it.
Oh, yeah.
You like Miranda Priestley?
Yes.
Sass?
Yes.
She
Sass.
gives you life?
Stanley Tucci sass. He's got a lot of
Ooh,
sass.
Stanley
too.
Tucci has a lot of sass.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sass in that movie. And, I'm the same way. If I'm flipping channels and suddenly it's on, I'm like, well,
Do
Might
you
as
watch?
well.
Do
I
you,
guess
you
I'm
watch your
watching
own
the-
movies?
Not all of them, but that one.
Yeah.
I'm not in that one enough to turn myself off a bit.
Okay, so
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, I loved you in it. For what it's worth. Cheers.
Well, thank you.
What are we drinking?
Okay, so today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tequila Ocho. Now, I know Tracie loves her bourbon and whiskey, so I wanted to find something that's a little more elevated, a little more rich, toothy, earthy.
That
This
sounds like an X-rated
Well,
adjective.
we're going to get there later, guys. So this is 100% Blue Weber agave, always on Team Tequila. We like to keep it 100%. This is additive free, always. This is unaged. And it on the nose of this is anise, roasted pineapple, and pink grapefruit, citrus and sweet, acidic apple, and quince paste. Now I had to look up quince paste. I'm from LA. Quince, I've had the cake. So I was like, what is actual quince paste? It comes from the quince fruit, and they make it into like a little jelly. It's a thick, sweet jelly. And it has light notes of vanilla.
I have never heard of a quince fruit.
Yes.
We are even learning things all the time on Team Tequila Talks because I just learned something new today. Mark, have you heard of this
I've
quince
never
fruit?
heard of that fruit.
You're the fruit expert.
before, but I've never heard of that fruit before.
It's pink. It's pretty. It kind of looks like
a dragon fruit?
Kind of, but it doesn't have the seeds in it, but it's pink. It's a very pretty color, like to have on your table. And then on the palate of this tequila, on the tongue, is orange peel, pink pepper, mineral, and earthy, slightly smoky. So when I was like in looking around, I'm like, you know what? Tracie needs something that this specific one is meant to just sip.
Great.
It is the owners, Thomas Estes and Carlos Camarena. They both wanted this to be something that they can have a cigar with, sit, have a guy, like casino type with a cigar and just kind of sip it. But we do have it both ways because they said if you will do it, you have to do it with a grapefruit or an orange. So we will try it in a bit, pour it over some ice with grapefruit and an orange. Just a quick little thing about this tequila. These two families got together. They were both master tequiliers. I made that up last week. I'm going with it.
We're going with it. We're running with it.
Don't at me, but I'm calling myself a junior. Me and Cassandra are junior tequiliers.
Aren't we seniors? Because you made it up. So
I did.
Or
Okay.
are we still putting in our hours in training here?
We're putting our house in training.
I don't know about you, but I put in some hours.
I know. So these two men got together in 1937. They are third generation tequila producers. They do nothing rushed, nothing hurried. All tequila made is exclusively from agave, a fact that few other producers can claim. They do small batch, which is when I was doing the research, and I was like, ooh, so many tequilas are so commercialized
Right.
that you lose a bit of its essence when you do it in such big batches. And so with this one specifically, it's small. The labels are hand placed on there. And that little writing on the back of the bottle, I don't know if you guys are watching, we'll turn it around, you can see it. It's in cursive. It's in cursive, and it's like the little bit of their history. And it just looks like a shipping bottle, a little bit like a shipping bottle.
Yeah.
There's a glare, so we're not really catching it that great on camera. But look up the bottle for sure. Tracie, how do you drink your tequila on an average day? Well, maybe not an average day, but on a tequila drinking day.
On a tequila day, I will drink it on tequila day, I would drink it just on the rocks with a little bit of salt and a lime.
So here at Team Tequila Talks, we actually are, I wouldn't say anti-lime, maybe lime ambivalent. We do use lime
I don't require a lime.
Okay. Have you ever drank it with a grapefruit, orange, blood orange, any type of other citrus?
Yes. At my house here, we have like a house cocktail that we've come up with this summer, and it's
Love this. Tell me more.
and it's tequila with a dash of blood orange Italian soda.
Okay. So
I
like
know
a
which one you're talking about too.
like
You
a
know,
skinny
so good.
blood orange.
Just like a boop, and it's delightful. But also you could do the blood orange with gin. It's also good with gin. Gin is a new thing in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Gin cocktails are a big thing now. I mean, I
Yes.
didn't, so I was always like, I don't like gin. I don't like gin by itself. I'm kind of like, if I don't like a liquor by itself, I don't like it.
So to me, gin, because of the botanical nature of it, to me, gin always tastes like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And when I was living in Vancouver for several years, and shout out to my bartender buddy, Dylan. He is a phenomenal mixologist, has his own line of bitters, and basically treats every bar as his lab. And he has some of the most amazing, Sherry, I've taken you there before.
Yes.
He has some of the most phenomenal cocktails, and I spent many happy hours and dinners just sitting at the bar, ordering food at the bar, chatting with my buddy Dylan, and I said, what is your favorite liquor to work with? Because I never drink vodka. He goes, I never use vodka.
Yeah.
He uses gin, and he said every mixologist bartender's favorite is gin because it is the most workable, and it really adapts to the flavors that you're blending it with. And I have to say that there's not a single time that I had a cocktail from him where it did taste like a Christmas tree or a pine tree. So he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And now I've started to ask other bartenders, and they share the same sentiment. They love working with gin.
Yeah, gin cocktails are really good. They're
Yeah,
really
they're
tasty.
delicious.
Yeah, I find that I don't like gin. I mean, he did a great job. I've been to other like hotels where they'll do like an amazing mixology type, gastronomy type of gin. And on the back of my tongue, there's an issue.
There's gin.
There's gin.
So
It's always
There's
there.
a floral, botanical situation
I
that
don't
is
like
unwanted
I don't
in
like
my drink.
Exactly, and I don't like floral coffees either. Anything artisan coffee,
Right.
if it's too flowery, I'm like goodbye.
Keep it simple.
Tracie, this is not exactly your house cocktail, but we
it's close.
are
Ish.
going to bring in some citrus here. So for those of you who are not ready to dive into straight sipping tequila, we're going to keep it very simple. And this is just going to be some fresh squeezed citrus with some silver. Really light, really simple. And what happens when we juiced the fruit this morning.
Fresh pressed.
And it is fresh pressed,
Fresh
which
pressed.
means, again, when you're using the whole fruit, you're getting the whole vitamins, the fiber, the micronutrients. Mark, what kind of micronutrients are we talking about here?
So for this citrus, it's very high in vitamin A and vitamin C, and also for grapefruit, it's high in vitamin K. So if anyone's on a blood thinner, you want to avoid vitamin K at all costs. So that's basically all the greens, anything that's heavy in green. But then it also is very high in antioxidants, so it fights free radicals. So like it's basically an anti-ager, and it's also fucking fantastic for your immune system. Big immune builder. It's also really good on an empty stomach for aiding in weight loss too.
Any citrus or this particular citrus?
This particular citrus.
This is a grapefruit and orange juice combo. And you really could mix this up a bit more. I mean, we could have added some spice or some lime or some agave because, let's be real, grapefruit does have a cut to it.
Yeah.
But in this instance, we were trying to keep it really simple, really clean. A lot of times when you go somewhere, especially in Mexico, but some restaurants that do it right, you can find, you might order a tequila flight or you might just order a very nice tequila to sip on, and they will bring you a shot glass of either hibiscus or pomegranate or any of their recommended juices that they think will go well with the tequila that you're ordering. And you take a sip of the tequila and a sip of the juice, or you can just sort of pour it in together if you want. Just keeping it nice and simple, nice and natural.
Yes, and simple is always the best because you can also use the grapefruit and orange juice as a marinade or just like a kitchen staple, pantry staple. So it's perfect.
Yes, and I wanted to reiterate, I don't know if I said this, we're drinking a Blanco. This is, I know on the show we've said we like to sip Anejos and Reposados, but this particular one is a sipping Blanco.
We are very hospitable, and Miss Tracie drinks silver, so that is what we are
I
sipping
tend to
on
drink
today.
silver, but you know what? I'm like, surprise me. And you surprised me with a...
Honestly, you'll drink
Lovely.
anything. Well, I would.
I would try anything.
Not anything. We stick to 100% agave
Yeah.
in this room for
Yes.
good reason.
Yes.
For good reason.
When
yeah.
you're feeling it the next day, it is usually that cut with sugar cane, or you've mixed it with something blue or
Blue.
whatnot. Have you ever seen a blue cocktail? You know when you go to
Yeah, I
in
stay
college
away from
maybe.
blue.
So do I, because
Like Curacao? Is it?
Yeah.
hypnotic.
Hypnotic.
Alizé. Is Alizé blue?
It's red.
It's red. Hypnotic is blue.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
no.
My husband back in the day, I don't know if I can say this word, so I'm just going to like spell it. Him and his friends, this is the early 2000s, which is, I can't believe I'm saying that's back in the day.
It's back in the day.
They
20
used to
over
have,
20 years ago.
So they used to have this juice called COOCHIE juice.
Kikuchi?
Coochie juice.
Coochie or coochie?
It's coochie. She's trying to be demure. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Mark just dropped an F-bomb.
It's coochie juice. And so he was like, yeah, me and my boys, I had just met him, and he's like, and we have this drink called coochie juice. And I was like, what? And he was like, it was like blue, it was like hypnotic with Alizé, Hennessy,
Listen, if you-
Curacao.
So basically in Miami, we would call that hunch punch.
Well, he's from New York, and he called
Yeah.
it coochie juice.
Well, if your coochie juice is blue, you need to be making an appointment to see your doctor.
Coochie juice should not be blue.
No, under
Most things that come out of your body
no
should be blue.
circumstances. That's
But
my rule.
particularly down there.
My rule of thumb in general is if it's neon, it
Don't
should not
drink
go
it.
in your body because nothing is neon
nature.
naturally.
Vitamin B12 liquid can be neon.
Right, but that's not like a food. That's not a whole food.
Okay.
That's not a blue fruit.
Yes.
No.
It's not a coochie
neon
fruit.
blue, not
There's-
a coochie fruit.
Even
No.
blueberries are purple. They're violet.
Yeah.
Yes, very true.
Or
Not
there's
neon.
blue magic. They put in shakes that turns your drinks blue.
That's like an algae, isn't it?
Algae, yeah.
Yeah, it's an algae. So, okay, let's call that the exception that proves the
All right,
rule.
that's the exception.
Do you want to put algae in your margarita? You should do that. You should work on an algae
Okay,
beverage
guys.
for us.
That would be very intense.
I trust you.
But what about
Mark has a
that other
rigorous
plant?
R&D process.
There's a-
Spirulina, moringa, chlorophyll.
You're thinking of butterfly pea.
Ooh, maybe. I'm thinking of one of those. That one of those might be really good in like a earthy. Maybe this Blanco because it's so like kind of like stiff.
Yeah, I tried a cocktail like last week, and it had charcoal in it, which was actually really good.
It's great. It,
was like
sucks, it
black.
basically sucks up all of the alcohol out of your system too,
We're going to have to do that
and your
soon.
digestive tract.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like a
activated
charcoal
charcoal
lemonade.
with lemon.
Yep. And mezcal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's-
really
yeah.
good. It
We'll
was
have to
really
work on that. That'll be one of our next ones. I always say with the blue, if it goes in blue, it comes out blue because almost everybody I see that has ever drinking funky colored concoctions it's coming
coming
right
back.
back up.
It's like a beet.
good. Yeah.
Like a beet juice, yeah.
I always
Yeah.
get nervous after I have beet juice.
Well, yeah, but I think what she's suggesting is it comes back the way
It
comes
does.
back up the way it went in.
Cheers.
On the note of bodily excretions, we are going to talk about Shayna Moakler. her boyfriend, who was arrested for assault and went to jail. They have a restraining order. But in the police report, this is the interesting thing. She says that he peed on her, that he grabbed her by the hair. And, you know, obviously domestic violence is a serious matter. But what I'm perplexed by is what it would take for someone to whip out their junk and pee on another person.
Can I say something
yes.
that's also a fetish? It's called water sports.
Wait, excuse me?
Golden
Yeah,
shower.
it's a fetish. Golden showers,
golden
water
showers.
sports. That's a thing.
I've heard of golden showers. Water sports
Wait,
is a new one.
what's the water sports? Never heard.
What's the other
So
sport?
water sports is basically, not that I participate in bukakis, but they just basically take turns and pee on you.
We're gonna have to have a higher.
Wait, excuse
rating
me.
for
What's
this
a blue?
episode.
What's a blue? What's a blue? What?
Nope. We're not
No.
getting into that.
Okay.
If you want to know what
Okay.
that is, you have the power of Google at your fingers.
Okay, wait.
We're not
I want
discussing that here.
Let's go back to Shayna's ordeal. So Shayna Moakler is the ex-wife of Oscar De La Hoya.
She's also the ex-wife of Travis
Travis
Barker,
Scott.
Yeah, Travis Barker.
Barker.
Yes.
former
So-
Playboy playmate.
Yes. So I feel like someone peeing. I feel like when you're the ex-wife of any boxer, I feel like you've probably picked up some moves. I know I would have. So I would have had. You would have to held me down to urinate on me.
Is that what they said happened?
So
held her down
it
and
said
peed
that
on her?
he grabbed her by the hair in the neck, threw her on the ground, got physical, and then peed on her. It's in the police report. Unfortunately, it's public. It's unfortunate that these things do become public, but they do. And then in it, the police report specifically says that while she was on the ground, he whipped it out and peed on her, among other things.
I read that he was a little younger. He's only 29. So
She's got to be, what, 45?
yeah, he's a little younger. I mean, 29 is a grown ass man, though. Let's just
Yeah.
keep it real. That's too old.
No, it is. And like usually if you pee on someone in a non-consensual way, it's like domination. It's like, I'm just going to defame you. I'm going to try to reduce you to the lowest common denominator. I'm going to make you my toilet.
It's like an FU, right?
It's waste.
Yeah.
I'd imagine, because this was not a golden showers consensual situation. This was in a moment of rage, and they were in the middle of a full-blown domestic. Restraining orders have been placed. This had to have been something that was about dominance, and I have won this fight.
Yeah, for sure.
This is not.
It's intense.
Yes, for sure.
It's really aggressive.
I will say this about that ordeal is I know she's very upset with Travis Barker dating Kourtney Kardashian. She's highly upset because apparently her and Shayna used to be friends.
Oh, wow.
And she's known Travis for years. And it's like that rule, even if I haven't been with someone for over 20 years, I've been together for over 20 years, do you still date someone even if you once called them a friend, do you still date their
Oh,
exes?
man.
So it's sticky because in 20 years you can change, right? So in our heads, or in your head, or my head, I would think, oh no, that's my friend Cher. I would never sleep with her husband. But everyone changes. And then maybe spiritually they're connected, or they're in a certain place in their life and now they're connected and they want to proceed. And it's like, who are we to stop that person?
Wise
Like if it
words.
floats your boat, do it.
Wise words from our resident single friend Mark Strong from the House of Strong.
Yes.
That is one thing that, I mean, you would think that people would want to evolve after 20 years. And naturally, even friendships and romantic relationships, and really any dynamic between two or more people, sometimes your relationship is going to ebb and flow or completely diverge or become closer. I've had some, I have a couple of friends who I was acquaintances with for years. And then all of a sudden we became much better friends because we were just in different places in our life. And I think that applies romantically, platonically, even like as a family member.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But here's disclaimer for me. If me and my husband divorce, do not mess with my husband. Don't talk to my husband. Don't even text. That is just who I am. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, that might, I would
Never be sorry
That
for
would-
being you.
And that's how
100%.
most people feel about it, but there are always exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
And this is a relatively more of a newer thing because what we have now in our society is like ownership of people, like forever, which isn't fair. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not fair.
Well, it's also different because back in the day, you didn't have to look at Instagram. You didn't have to look at TikTok. You didn't have to see, oh, this person is out and about. When your ex was gone in 1994 or even earlier, that person was just out of sight, out of mind.
Right. Right. So do you then, because I had a relationship with someone, does that mean that if my friend who I love and my ex who it didn't work out with, if they find happiness together, I don't want them to be happy because of something that happened a long time ago? Does that mean, does my comfort outweigh your happiness as a person?
Depends on the friend and the circumstance.
Gosh, I just, if I spend a lot of time with you, like you're my close friend or a best friend, and 15 years after the fact, let's say, you know, me and my ex 15 years down the road, and maybe, I mean, you know what? I'm a visual person, so like that would just be really bad visually for me. I'm very cerebral, and I think a lot, and I can view things in my head about how things play out, and I think for myself that would be like maybe a little torturous.
Of course, it'll be torturous. However, is your personal torture more important than their happiness? Fuck.
Getting very into the Zen stuff here. As
I mean,
you tend
really,
to do when you're
as
sipping
we
tequila.
have one life, right? We have one life.
I agree with you.
True.
We have one
You're
life,
true.
and you and Rick broke up. It didn't work out,
No.
right? It's never going to happen. But it didn't work out. Years later, you're with somebody else.
Yes. Well, I guess I mean, look, I'm being a
know.
little selfish here because if I've moved on,
You still don't want him to move on.
But you're also speaking on something that doesn't exist.
It
so.
doesn't, but you know what it is. I mean, you know, we've all had our breakups and ups and downs, and where you date other people and you do all these things. It's like, you know, I would hate to think we've been together for over almost 20 years. So even now, I have exes in high school or in college that I had that dated before him, and I hear about who they're dating, and I'm like, good for them, good for them.
As long as I don't know them. As long as that girl is not somebody I know.
Well, because I always say my husband was the first person I fell in love with, like genuinely. So you know what I mean? So I feel, and we share a child, and there's all that jazz in there. So if my best friend was then 20 years down the road, but that's like kind of like my daughter's auntie. I don't know.
It is.
No, it gets weird, and every situation is its own situation.
Now we're going down a rabbit hole.
Right. You know, because as a blanket statement, like, yes, for sure. The rules go, anybody I've dated is off limits to anybody I know. Right? And vice versa. Anybody that is a friend of my ex, they're also off limits. So I'm not going to date my ex's friends, and my friends aren't going to date my ex's.
You at least have to
However,
ask. Right?
there are exceptions to rules. People find their person. And if your person happens to be your ex, my person happens to be your ex, and you're not together anymore, then what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, I would never stand it. Like, look, I always say any type of love that's ordained or it's supposed to happen will happen, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And it goes both ways in breaking it up also. So
Right.
I do feel like I agree with you, Tracie. I'm just being me, bratty.
No, but that's what everybody's go-to is that. Like, don't even talk to my man. Even though it's been over for 10 years.
Because also, too, like, breakups end up for different reasons, and maybe it wasn't, like, toxic, and it was just easy, and it's just cordial, and we're all adults, and communication's open, and you just do you.
Yeah.
Because it's technically no longer my business anymore. So
Right.
goodbye.
You have an adult conversation. You pull aside your friend out of respect. I mean, you don't have to. You can't control other people. But the respectful thing to do would be to pull aside your friend and say, hey, I know that this person and you had a thing, but now we're kind of vibing. What do you think? And ultimately, it's kind of like when people back in the day used to ask parents for their hand in marriage.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. It's not permission. It's a blessing. And you
Right.
just know where you stand. So
And
you
then
don't
you
walk
do
into
that.
a room with this person
Of
and your
course.
friend goes, what the hell?
Yes, of course. That is always the way we want it to happen. It often doesn't happen that way. Because in that period of time where you're vibing, like, at what point do you go to your friend and say, hey, this dude, at what point do you do that? Because there has to come a point. There has to be a vibe before that happens. And we want it to all work out perfectly. We want it to all be like,
Life does not do that, does it?
it doesn't do that. Life's all of a sudden, you're in a situation, and we all would like people to be adults. But if you go to your friend, you're like, hey, I know you were a thing, but whatever. Your friend's like, absolutely not. No.
You just gotta. I think at the minimum, it's a heads up.
No, for sure. We
No,
want everybody
heads
to
up for
agree.
sure. That's a
You know.
requirement. Heads up, that's all.
Yeah, although I know life is messy, it's unpredictable, and it can be a lot of times unreliable. But I do think if you have ever loved your friend and your ex, there is at a point when you're comfortable to just let that person know.
Of course.
I think, but it doesn't have to be right away. I mean, love doesn't wait, people.
Well, just because you're whipping your dick out does not mean that you're urinating on somebody. Just ask Big Sean.
Ooh, I cannot.
So Big
I'm
Sean,
getting all my current events from you guys. I'm like, what's going on?
right?
Who did it?
That's what we're here for, Tracie.
Big
Who
Sean,
did it?
Pull up the photo. Show.
So
It is on the internet, by the way. It is everywhere on the internet. It is still up. He doesn't care or his lawyers are not doing his job. But we have a dick pic leak of Big Sean. It is, I have to say, it's not a bad photo.
They compared it to, so think of a length of a Nintendo Switch, which is around 9+ inches. People. I mean, I'm very married,
But
so.
I looked at the photo. I don't see a Nintendo Switch. Who speculated that?
Internet sleuths. These women, look, I can eyeball a tablespoon or 7 inches. I can eyeball that. I can look at that laptop and be like, yep, that's 9 inches.
How long is this mic? What's the
That's
length?
about, from the cord to
here
the
it
tip.
is.
We're talking about the tip? Yes. Here is the photo. Tracie
You
is
always
viewing the
have to,
photo.
when you're measuring length, you always have to include the tip, Sherry.
Okay. So this is about 7 and 8 inches, this mic, including the tip.
Including the tip, huh?
Mark, what do you think? Our resident single person, what do you think about this picture?
Honestly, this photo does not look real because, like, first and foremost, he has a Toshiba laptop. Maybe this photo is incorrect, but no one uses this laptop anymore, number one. This photo is way too grainy.
Maybe the photo is old, though. We haven't considered that, right? Just because this photo was leaked does not mean it was leaked and taken from a photo taken yesterday.
Maybe an ex.
Ooh, see?
And there's also Axe body wash in the background.
Big Sean's doing okay. He's doing all right.
Like
I
he
would
can
say
afford more than Axe body wash?
that
Does he look just like
bathroom-
that now? Does he still look exactly like that now in the face?
Well,
To me,
I mean,
yes.
first of all, it's a little pixelated. Second of all, it's not the best angle to see, the fine lines. But this bathroom looks like a dorm room bathroom to me. This looks like an old school bathroom. I don't think it's current.
It has a shower curtain that looks dated.
Extremely.
So maybe let's say this is early in his career.
It
so
has
let's
a
date
door
this.
handle that looks dated.
How about, guys, let's date this photo. This is early in his career. This is an ex. I'm going to build a story around this photo. This is an ex. He is about to do Rolling Loud Festival, and she's probably want that O thing back. I mean, look, I'm not going to comment on the size, but the people said it was over 9 inches.
Is this a webcam that he's holding? Look at this. This is an old
Yeah, it's
school
just old.
webcam. This is not an iPhone. And it's certainly not an iPhone 13.
No, it's not.
Are we on 13?
However, I mean,
Yeah.
once
12.
If that's your size, that's your size, even if it's 10 years later.
If it's 10 years later, it doesn't shrink people.
doesn't go
It
away.
doesn't not grow that long.
I don't know. I think, and as I was saying at the beginning here, either his lawyers are not doing his job or he does not mind that photo is out. What do they say, that all press is good press?
There is no bad press. And honestly, if I'm Big Sean, I mean, do you
Not
really
unflattering.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. If I'm Big Sean, I'm like,
My
all
name
right,
is Big Sean.
hello.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
what
like-
I said.
Now, if he had shrinkage coming out of like a jacuzzi, maybe he would want to take that down.
Yeah, no, he's
But what's wrong with small penis?
Nothing's wrong with small penis. I don't prefer those, but if you prefer that, that's your jam. That's personal.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just that as a whole, he looks good in the photo. He's got his 8-pack happening.
he went to the gym that day.
He looks a little nonchalant. This is like kind of a dumpy
A side of
bathroom.
intermittent fasting.
It is.
It's a bit of
It
a
is,
dumpy
yes.
bathroom. It's kind of like, putting a rose bush on a turd mound, right?
or that. Yeah.
So it just looks, he looks very nice. And, it's
and he's
just
very
sort of,
confident in his package situation.
do we know how it got
With his
leaked?
Axe body wash.
It's the axe is a little bit cringy. However, it's an old photo. We've
Yes.
decided that.
We decided.
Yes. No, they don't know how it leaked. It just popped up last night, like late last night. Is like the internets were. I was like reading, Twitter, and all of a sudden it was like, why is Big Sean trending?
Has
And
to be an
then-
X.
I think it's an ex. I think, look, I mean, Big Sean dated Ariana Grande. He's with, I think, Janae Aiko right now. I mean, this is a long ago ex with a webcam.
I think that
Mad.
with
Just like, you know what I'm gonna do today? Drop this photo.
Just felt like it.
It's been 10
12
years.
years later. I think all of those leaked photos come from two places. Either someone has stolen your device / hacked into your device. Either way, stolen, whether physically or virtually. Or it's an angry ex.
This is why I don't do nudes anymore. I think back when we had the Nokia flips and the T-Mobile sidekicks, I would, if my husband was filming on location or whatever, I would, do it. Because, like, those things were impossible to hack.
Or
and
if you do a nude, just make it artistic. So it's like, technically, it's...
Cut your head off.
It's
It's
art.
a mood. It's art.
It's art.
Cut your head off from here.
Oh, you know what, Mark?
I always make it safe.
Ooh, our
So you
resident...
can't hurt me.
You can't prove that to me.
I have a skinny dipping photo that is hanging in my bathroom. That's me.
Yeah, you do.
And
I've seen it.
I think it's art. And
Yeah.
so it's not a leaked nude image. It is actually something that I think is very artsy and cool.
So if you want to know about me and Cassandra, she has a very artistic nude in her bathroom, and I have it's probably the size of a wall in my bedroom. It's me on a rock in Maui, and the sunset matched my swimsuit perfectly. And it's like my butt is out. It's like and Rick got it. My husband got it blown up.
Is it that orange suit you have?
Yes.
I've seen that orange
Wait,
suit.
in your bedroom, Sherry?
Yes.
Oh my God, I need to see this photo.
It's huge. Yes.
I literally thought you were going in a different direction. In your bedroom? Really have a big picture of yourself in your bedroom? That's not
Absolutely.
where it went. Like, oh my God, I need to see it.
That's off mic.
I have pictures in my bedroom.
Can I go?
Hold on, do you guys not have, we've established that Sherry has a picture in her bedroom. I have a picture in my bedroom. I put a picture of my husband in our bedroom, and he hates it.
No
I love
pictures
it.
or family, friends, or yourself in your place. Bad feng shui.
Is that
Really?
Hold on. Is that our single friend not wanting people watching him get funky, or not wanting the people that you bring home to see your family?
It's just
or
respect for the space.
Wait. So if you're married, Mark, and your husband's like, I want us to be dripping in oil, taking these artistic photos so we can hang in our bedroom, you're saying no, it's feng shui, or you're
So
saying,
no,
baby,
you
I
can
got you?
create a beautiful book, but for your home and your space, it should look like no one actually lives there.
So you have to see Mark's place. It's actually divine. I just commented today. I said, wow, your bedroom is amazing. If you've ever been to Tulum, I call his house the Tulum house because it literally looks like you're in Tulum. His design aesthetic he's not only a body architect, but he's like, his design aesthetic is crazy.
But your favorite is black and white, and I put the photos in black and white because it's a vibe.
Yes, but as long as I can't tell that it's you.
No, you can definitely tell it's me.
Oh,
It's
no.
100%.
Oh, no, it's them.
It's you.
Wait, Tracie, do you have any photos of yourself in your bed haven?
No, I don't. I mean, it's just weird to wake up and look at myself.
That's what my husband says. He says it's masturbatory, and I said, well, it's a good thing it's in the bedroom then.
Yeah, it's weird. Like when I did Rent, as a wrap present, the production team gave us these huge, like, life-size posters of ourselves. And I was like, what am I going to do with that? Give it to my parents. So it's in the dining room in my parents' room. There's no way I could come home and look at a big picture of myself.
In the dining room. So they don't want it in the bedroom. And
Well,
no
I would
photos
be
in the
weird
bedroom.
if my parents had
100%.
They have
But in the
they
dining
have
room?
kid pictures and like pictures of family pictures in the bedroom. You know what I mean, of everybody, and I think that's normal. It's just for me, like I go into people's houses and like there's a wall-sized portrait of them on the wall. And I'm like,
Sherry.
Oh my God. And I also have, you guys are making me, look, I'm going to transform both of you because we have a picture wall off of our dining room that has like, it's all black and white frames. It's like 15 of them. And it's just family photo wall.
do you have a wall-sized photo of you and Rick? You walk in, the entire wall is your faces behind the couch.
No, Rick does not. Honestly, you know what? Rick does not have a photo of himself that does not include me or our daughter in it. It's me and my ass is in our room and my back. But he's the one who blew it up. He was like, damn, you look good. I need to hang that up somewhere like right
I
in the
will
bedroom.
send you some beautiful books, and we're going to minimize.
But if it seems like no one lives there, doesn't it feel like you're living in a hotel? Although that could be a positive because I love a hotel.
I love a hotel, but I think what I love about the hotel is the getawayness of it, of the
Yeah, but you can
my
also
room
make a
look like a
space
hotel.
personal without making it extremely personal. Like you can put your favorite colors, favorite fabrics, textures, and things that you love and enjoy. But you can put all of that in a book. In my opinion, IMO.
Oh, you guys are killing my vibe. I like to be a little conceited in my bedroom.
No, that's just me. I feel weird waking up looking at myself on a wall.
And then imagine if I had that in my place. Me and polka dots naked. What would you think of me?
I'd be like, damn, you look good.
You do look good.
I would be like, ooh, what is that left oblique doing?
This
Give me
would
that.
be a giant billboard for body architecture, House of Strong.
That would work, but never at my place.
Oh, we're gonna transform.
Yes.
Transform.
Yeah,
your-
you know what? I've been working on a wall in a corner in my bedroom of all of my relatives, like old black and white photos of like grandparents, great grandparents on their wedding days, things like that. I've been like acquiring those to do black and white framed pictures in one corner.
Oh, that's like an ancestor wall. I kind of like that's
like
a good
an
vibe.
ancestor corner.
Looking over you while
Yeah.
you sleep. I mean, I kind of like that.
And there's a
Reminder of
big
where
white-
you came from.
There's a big white reading chair, like a winged chair, and around that, I just want to have all the ancestors there in the corner, but it's different than me. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, I did that at one point in my life when I was in college and in grad school, and me and my boyfriend at the time, we just had framed picture, like collage. Remember at IKEA, you would go and get
Yeah.
those like, little collage things. You're cutting out the pictures for all the little windows. And
$3.99.
they're everywhere. And I did that for a while, and then I was like, let me put these in my closets. I still have them stacked up in my closet because then if I got mad at him, then I'm all of a sudden looking in his face.
You mean if they started dating your ex?
If they started dating my ex or anybody I'd ever met in my whole life, which happens.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap it up and raise the vibe with a cheers. Guys, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the team, Team Tequila Talks, Mark Strong, House of Strong. Tracie, thank you so much for joining us. Cheers.
Cheers.